So places like cemeteries are one of those kind of anchors to a city. The downtown cemetery in downtown Fort McMurray, it's actually quite fascinating to see the names. It shows who are the founding families and how their offspring became the next layer of founding family, and then there were other people who came, and there are significantly a lot of Métis names. And you can see that, oh, that's the history. And then the current cemetery in Abasand is fascinating as well, because then you start getting a lot more Polish names as Polish immigrants came, I guess, through the 70s to come work in the mines. You start getting Asian names, and you get a lot of Muslim names, and those aren't in the original cemetery downtown, but you start seeing those in the Abasand cemetery. To the extent that, in terms of talking how a city grows and changes, the new cemetery, we will actually be setting aside a parcel of land specifically for the Muslim population. We are going to try to make a cemetery that is not just a clear cut of forest, but maybe try to retain as much of the forest as possible, creating groves of trees, and then a cemetery kind of in a grove of trees. The current cemetery is about 30 years old. My understanding is the planning for the current cemetery in Abasand began in about 1980, and it was constructed and usable by about 1984. Through the 80s, there wasn't a lot of growth happening, and it probably wouldn't have raised too many alarm bells that we would need a cemetery because there wasn't that much growth. Through the 90s and now in the 2000s, this town has grown. It's evident that we need a new cemetery, and part of that is because of the growth that's been happening in Fort McMurray. People are beginning to consider this to be home because more and more and more people have been coming, and now their children are having children, and their children's children are having children. There's now grandparents here, and they want to be near their grandkids. And this is, for several families, this is the only home that they know now. They're okay with living in a place like this. They, in many ways, prefer being here. Before here, I was working in Abu Dhabi, in the Middle East. I came back to Canada because all of the projects in the Middle East were, to say it nicely, reevaluated, because Dubai had overbuilt and so had Abu Dhabi, so they just put a halt on all projects. And so well, from a personal standpoint, I would much rather be in a town that is growing quickly and has lots of opportunity and lots of projects than in a place that has no opportunities and no projects and no money. Here, at least, we're on top of the ball. We are trying to supply more roads, more sewage, more parks, road space, sewer space, park space, and ultimately cemetery space as well. Cemeteries are a fundamental part to any city's sense of itself, of where it came from, how it got there, who's been here, who helped lay out the city, who's partly responsible for what a city's like. It's a memorialization of our past, and that's important to any city's sense of itself. My name is Hendrigan, and my position here with the regional municipality is as an open space development planner. And primarily my projects are parks, open space, trails, and cemeteries.